Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. Just thought I'd return to you for this Star Wars The Acolyte Episode 8 review for Season 1. The season finale that I watched for Star Wars Acolyte. The Acolyte. So I'm going to discuss what I watched for this latest episode and let you know my thoughts on the season finale of Season 1's final episode. For The Acolyte is what the episode's name is. So let's dive right into this episode review. Now, sorry about my throat being still messed up. It's just sometimes it basically is I'm wanting to talk and then I get like bad constriction in my throat where it's just so tight on my voice box some of the time. But I will say that this episode was okay. It was an okay ending to the season, but overall this season was pretty bad, basically. This season would have been something interesting if only they didn't kill off all the Jedi, or almost all the Jedi, in like episode 5, because that was fucked up. And it really left me questioning, like, why the fuck did I even watch this show to begin with, kind of shit. So, pretty much, in this episode, May and, Osha are like the same being, and they're kind of not twins, they're just the same person, and they find that out from Soul, and then, I guess Osha turns to the dark side. So I'm like, oh, how I did not know that. I actually did know that something like that was going to happen. I'm like, let me guess, she's going to turn to the dark side. And what do you know it? Predictability comes in with this show, and it happens. She's basically saying, let my sister go and I'll join to train you. I'm like, well, bargaining to join the dark side. How fucked up. This show's writing is so poor. It is such a mess of a show. I'm gonna be honest, the first episode really bummed me the fuck out. And as of looking back at it, I'm just like, it's not great. For a season premiere of an episode 1, that one was not that great. Because they killed off Carrie Ann Moss too quickly. And it just didn't feel like this show was really representing shit. It was just like, oh, well, we're going to show you a show that looks appealing. And it did look appealing for a time. But the execution was the main thing with this. And it flopped. It was tarnished big time. This episode is okay and kind of mid. But I would say I leave my expectations so low for this show. I had it so high, and then it was tarnished by episode 5 with how fucked up that episode was. And so on and so forth. But still, it's like I had a feeling that Osha was going to turn to the dark side. I had a feeling. I just was like, okay, so this show was nothing but crap. They tried at least with the storyline, but it didn't execute too well. The storyline was pretty poorly written, and I know the actors were giving it their all, and I'm not saying that they're not trying. It's just how the story is written and the script and its execution is the main issue with this show. I think this show never should have happened. This is one of the worst shows I have watched this year. And I know Velma season 2 happened this year or something like that. I don't remember. I don't really give a fuck. That show was even worse. That was more cringe. But still, for an episode and season finale, this was okay. It was kind of mid. I just had some critiques with this episode. I was like, oh, so we get all our answers figured out in the final episode. And I had a feeling that they were already hinting away that Osha and May were the same person, so we kind of had a feeling in episode 6 and 7. We kind of knew this show's predictability is such cringe, and Kathleen Kennedy and all the other fucks at Disney were writing a poorly written show. This was poorly written. This whole season was poorly written. And this thing can literally just go fuck itself. The show is horrible. And one of the worst things I've seen this year so far. And for episode 8, I will at least give it a 6 out of 10. But for the entire season, I'd have to give it a 2.5 out of 10. This is just bad. It was so bad that I couldn't even... I don't see myself coming back to this piece of shit of a show. The acting was trying too hard, and just the script was really bad. Overall, its dialogue didn't do shit. It didn't explain shit. It was trying to, but the story wasn't really piquing my interest. At least they mentioned Dark Plagueis in this episode, and that was interesting. I will give it that. But the show as a whole, it was a failure. This whole season was a flop. So, I think Disney needs to give up on the Star Wars franchise. I think now is the time. After this new Mandalorian and Grogu movie, they should stop completely. Because they are tanking a series and a franchise that used to be good. And 7, 8, and 9 they were not good movies. I will tell you that much. They were piss poor movies. I mean, 7 was okay, but 8 and 9 were the worst. For episodes 8 and 9 of Star Wars, The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were the worst. So pretty much 6 out of 10 for episode 8. It was kind of meh. It wasn't great, but I just I don't see myself coming back to this season. And for an overall score for Star Wars The Acolyte for this whole entire season, 2.5 out of 10. Fuck this garbage ass show. It can be buried in a hole and live in that hole. Because it will not see the light of day in my eyes. I can't believe I watched this cringy ass show for the past month and a half, and I wasted my time. Yeah. I was gonna at least finish it, give it some chances to see if it will impress me. It didn't impress me. It was not great. It was not a good show. And I'm not going to remember this as the rest of the year goes on. This will probably be my most disliked show of 2024. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this season 8 review for the finale of Star Wars The Acolyte, and 2.5 out of 10 for the entire show. It is bad, it is not good, and it can really go fuck itself and get shoved up someone's ass, for sure. And I'm only saying that as a joke, but for real, this show was bad. But with that being said, thank you for watching this episode 8 review for the season finale of Star Wars The Acolyte. And as always, I will see you on my next review.